Okay, this morning we're going to try making a little ornament for my guitar. And if you're familiar with a lot of the guitar bindings and things of that sort, in the old days they used to put a little chevron like this at the bottom of the fingerboard, and of course it would be part of the inlay. But what I'm going to try to do is make a little ornament you can attach to just about any guitar, and it's made out of wood and it's cut on a scroll saw, and it's fairly easy to make, but you got to fit it really to your fretboard. Most of the fretboards will work out very nicely here, so I've got some dimensions for you in the pattern. But you may have to do a little bit of sanding to make it fit on there. And also you want to dress it up a little bit too. This is rather plain wood as I finished. And what you could do is maybe paint it, put a little inlay in it, possibly decorate it if you're a good artist, maybe just do some cutout. A lot of variations on this. And it doesn't affect the sound of the guitar because it's really attached pretty much to the fingerboard. It's not even resting on the body of the guitar itself. And you can set it up just about any way you want. You can press down the strings, of course, and the strings don't touch the actual ornament. The last fret there you can see is above the actual ornament itself. It's just a little something to enhance your guitar. This one is put on my Gibson, let me get down inside here, Gibson L00, and you can use them on all different kinds of guitars, and you might even want to tint them with different color depending upon what the color of the body is. It is easy to slide off, easy to slide on, nothing that's going to really damage your guitar, and might actually add a little bit to it. Okay, so let's get to work on this thing and see how it's made. Actually, before we start to work on this, I just wanted to show you how this does assemble. It's a relatively easy process. I've cut these and sanded them so that they fit around this size board, fretboard, very snugly. And we don't want anything that's going to be permanent on there, although you could if you wanted to glue it down. But I just want to use the pressure to hold it in place. So you slide your little ornament right around the end of the board and then push it up, and it's a nice tight snug fit. Well, at least that's what you want to try for. You see this one here works out pretty good. You can use a tool of some sort if you want to force it in tighter, and it looks pretty good. You still got a little bit of an opening there too, so you can put a screwdriver in there if you want, or some kind of a thin tool to pop it off if it's too snug. And then you can probably use your fingers to get the rest of it off. Okay, works pretty good. Clean up your, I'm down in a dusty cellar here, of course, so I'm getting a lot of dust on here, but you just clean it up and you're on your way. Okay, I'm over here with the pattern that we're going to use to cut this out. Now the dimensions on here are quite arbitrary. They're approximate. You might want to change the dimensions, make it a little bit bigger, a little bit smaller on the length and the width. Possibly on the interior, of course, too, you'll want to, I've got 2 1/4 inches here, but you might want to, you know, stretch it out a little more on the actual pattern when you cut it. Or you can do as I do, and that is cut it out to these dimensions, and then just simply go and do what sanding you need to do to get this thing to work. Okay, I've cut out a few of these little ornaments already, and what I do is I take a 1/4-inch birch plywood and tape them together using this painter's tape, and then glue down the pattern on the board, the top of the board. And when I cut this out, I get 2 ornaments rather than 1. I'm just going to show you how I do this quickly. And if you have a scroll saw, it's nice and easy. If you have to do it with a coping saw, well, it could be a little more difficult. Okay, and a jigsaw would be very difficult, I would think, if you're working this small. All right, what we do is we take the pattern and we put it down on the wood. I'm going to put it right in here, so it'll be just right, cutting inside the area. There we go. Okay, and now we're going to take this over to the scroll saw and cut this out, show you how it's done, and we'll start to work on this. Now you can use other woods if you want, but I would suggest that maybe the plywood might be a better way to go because there's more strength to it. We try to put this down on the fretboard. There's got to be a little bit of play in those side pieces because you want that to hold snugly onto the board. And if you're not using something that'll bend and move easily, it could snap off very easily. I've tried Paduke, and I've tried a couple of other woods that are a little more grainy, and it becomes a problem because they just pop off. I think you're better off if you just do it with a plain wood and then maybe stain it to what other color you want. But you can experiment, try different woods. Maybe you'll have better luck than I did. Okay, so let's go work on this. Okay, I drilled a little pilot hole here in the corner just so we could keep as much real estate on this as possible while we're doing the cutting. Slide our scroll saw blade through there and bring the top down, attach it, and we are ready to go. Okay, we should have 2 nice little ornaments cut out here, all at the same time. Cuts down on the work quite a bit. And we've already cut others out of this. I think we'll just dispose of that. Peel those off. Peel this one off. Peel this tape off of here. We don't need that on there. And we are in business. Now what I want to do is take these over to the mop sander, and we'll round over the edges on them and clean them up a little bit so they'll look pretty good. Okay, we're over at the mop sander. I'm going to run these over the top and take all the fuzzies off and smooth them out a bit. Okay, looks a lot better than it did when it came off the saw. Now, if you don't have a mop sander, you can take a regular sandpaper and just go along the edges there to smooth these out, round them over, make them a little heftier. Okay, now we want to take this and try our first fitting to see if they work. Okay, after you cut out the little ornament, you will probably find that it doesn't fit exactly. It might not. But if it doesn't fit quite right, there's two problems. One, it might be too large and it just falls right off, in which case you can't do too much about that except maybe put a little piece of tape in there, and hopefully that'll be enough to make it wedge tightly. But if it's too small, you could take a file like this and just gently file away at either side. Now, what I would suggest you do too, if you're filing it, is to file it at a slight angle so that this little bottom piece sort of matches the contour of the end of your fingerboard. It isn't really necessary, but if you want to make a tighter fit, that's the way to do it. So I would take a file or a piece of sandpaper and work at that until you get it down really good. Okay, I've sanded this down, and now it should be nice and snug there. And it is. Goes in there very nicely. And if you're going to take it off and on, you might want to sand that down a little more so that it removes very easily. But this seems to work pretty good. Okay, now these, as I said, I've cut from birch ply, which works very nicely because it's a nice sturdy wood. And it looks pretty good on a clear surface like that, white against a dark background. But you can paint them, as I said, or you can stain them, or do whatever you want. If you're a good artist, you might want to put some more ornamentation on them. What I'm going to do with this one is I'm going to stain it a dark color. I'm going to use a black stain on it and fit it right in there so that it sort of matches the black finish on the guitar. Gets a little dusty down here, but we'll give her a good polishing up later on and get it all set. So I'm going to take this over and stain this now. Okay, we're going to stain this little ornament to a dark color. I'm going to use a black stain, penetrating stain. It's, you can find it here. It says True Black. This is a Minwax oil wood finish, and it's going to be a relatively easy staining job because first of all I want to mix it up a little bit, make sure we got a good mix here. Okay, I'll take the top off, and staining jobs are usually quite messy. So I've got some gloves on, as you can see. And we're not going to have to do a lot of work on this, though. We'll just put this down here. And we're going to take a little tweezer like this and pick our piece up. And this is going to be a relatively easy job. So we'll just dip it right in here and let it stay for a few moments. Let it absorb as much of that dark stain as we can. Put it in for a second coat, so to speak. And we'll change positions here. Whoop. Well, now we're in for it. Going for a swim. I think we can get it out. Not too much trouble, I hope. I'm going to take a clean piece of towel and we'll put it in there and dry it off. Let's see what it looks like. Well, not as dark as I thought it was going to be. It's actually showing the grain of the wood. which might or might not be good. Okay, we've got a stained finish on here. Maybe we should throw it in again. See if we can get any darker. I don't know if we can. Let's try it again. Bring it up here a little bit so you can see it a little better. Okay. You can see it's got the grain of the wood showing through there. Okay, we'll let that dry for a while and then we'll take it and give it a good clear spray. Okay, we're at the paint area, and that stain is dried nicely, and the grain is showing through a lot better actually. And I've got some clear spray here, a gloss. And what I'm going to do is give this a couple coats and give it a little bit of shine. Don't want it to blow away. Seems like it would like to do that. Okay, we're going to let that just stay and dry now for a while, and then we'll come back and give it another coat. Alright, we'll let that dry up a little bit. Okay, we're going to try something a little bit different than just a plain old chevron. We're going to take another pattern, which I've got, with a dragon on it, and the chevron, and we're going to cut them out together. Again, we'll make two at a time instead of one. Take some tape, put it on here, tape these nice and firm. This is done from 1/4-inch plywood again, and I find that a very flexible wood to work with. Takes the paint and stain pretty good, so you can use that if you want to change the coloration. Might want to just leave it plain wood though. Plywood nowadays is not coming through as good as it used to, but it makes an adequate project wood. Okay, we take that and we'll put our pattern down. By the way, you can get these patterns for a very, very minimal cost, along with a bunch of other patterns that I include with them too, sort of a grab bag, by clicking the link down below. That'll take you to my pattern page. You can download these and try working on them yourself. See how you do. Okay, this is a neat little dragon, and it'll make a nice outline border type pattern on your guitar, and it doesn't injure the guitar in any way. So, alright, let's take this over to the scroll saw and cut it out now. Okay, I've got the pattern set here, and I drilled a couple of entry holes too, because we're going to hollow out this dragon. So we needed one on the inside and one on the outside to keep some real estate here. First of all, I'm going to do the inside one. We'll get that done with. I'm using a number 5 reverse tooth blade here, by the way, which is the standard that I use. And here we go. Okay, we got these cut out. Let's drop them. Okay, we're over at the sanding mop. Let's see what we can do to smooth these out without breaking them, hopefully. I want to gently move this over. Sanding mop. Okay, they came out pretty good. They're very light and very fragile, so you got to be careful with them. You don't want to really press this down too hard, otherwise it'll come flying right off and probably split your ornament. Alright, what I'm going to do is take this over to the guitar now and see if it fits. Probably won't. I may have to do a little bit of sanding on the opening here for the end of the fretboard. We'll try it out. Okay, we're over here at the guitar. Let's put this in here and see if it fits. Well, it does not fit. It is a little too small on the inside. So what we got to do is our usual trick sanding, and that should make it work. So let's go over to the sanding. Okay, I'm going to take the I'm going to do this by hand here, no tripod, so do this with one hand. If I can do it with one hand, just imagine what you could do with two hands. Okay, looks like it fits pretty good now. Let's tighten it down a bit by pushing it in. I'm not going to bring it in all the way, but bring it as tight as we can. Okay, and we've got our little dragon here on the black background. We polish this up later. It'll look a lot better. Let me stand this up. Take a look at it. We now have a dragon on our guitar. I don't know if anybody would ever want one, but there it is. And we've got a little chevron at the bottom as well. Now this just about barely touches the guitar. I don't think it's going to affect the sound at all. We can try it out later on, but as I bring it now, it sounds perfectly fine to me. Okay, so we've got one now with a little ornament on it. The ornament attached to the ornament. And as I said before, you can stain this or paint it or dress it up any way you want, and it should look pretty good. That'll get closer to the fingerboard. A little bit of spacing in there, but give it a good push. I think it'll tighten up nicely. And you don't want it too tight anyways, because you want to be able to take it off in case you decide you want to try some other kind of ornament, or no ornament at all. Well, that pretty well finishes up this project. As I said, if you want to try this with your own wood, you can pick up the pattern on my pattern page. Just click the link down below, and you'll be able to do that. And in the package, I also include a bunch of other scroll saw patterns, which I think you might enjoy also if you enjoy working with scroll saw in general. Well, I hope you enjoyed this project, and thank you for watching. Please remember to click the like button down below, by the way. It does help me out. Thank you.